Welcome back. Been a while. Today I am working on changing my timing belt for my Volvo. Here's the number if you want to see it. It's 9180954. This is the timing belt I use in my machine. There are two different for the 8050 series, but this is the one I had. And this is the one I will change. So I have driven 6 years with this one. It still looks okay, but since my car is mostly stock, no modification whatsoever, there might be a risk that the timing belt is wearing out more rapidly than on a regular car. So stay tuned. So, starting from the beginning, as you can see, this does not apply to basically any other 850 than mine, so this is in all respects a completely pointless video. Two things. You can see I have two ECUs. Normally there would be one of these would be the automatic gearbox, but in my case this is a Motronic 4.3 and a Motronic 4.4, and I just used the one for storage. Modified one of them to fit in there. And the other thing is that you can see that this top is not an 850 top, it's actually a V70 top with hard lifters, so it does not apply. The belts I'm using to get this timing combination to work, they are a mix and match from different Volvos, so it does not apply. So in many ways a pointless video. However, some of the basics can be translated into general use for anybody. So, as you can see, I have already removed the water expansion, put it aside. It just snaps off from here, quick release. I'm not going to remove these. The other thing is I have removed this spark plug cover. That's there to protect the water, basically shield from dust and make it look nicer. Next step for me is to actually open this 10mm bolt I have here and then remove this auxiliary belt I have here. For this you just have to put a socket in this tensioner and just pull it, and then you can take it away, but please remember how it was so you can get it back. So I'll return in a short while. A big Knipex comes in handy here. So to get more room, I decided I will be removing the ECU as well, or the ECU housing. The ECUs are already just removed quick quick removal. Then you have one latch here, one here and one on the other side, and one bolt here keeping this, and after that you will have plenty of room to move around and maneuver. $10mm bolt here. The timing belt cover was 12mm actually, in spite of me saying it would be 10, because usually everything is 10mm. I also like to put these bolts back so I don't just screw them on a few turns and then you won't lose them. As you can see now, there is plenty of room to do whatever I want, and now I'm still working on this. Somebody really put some torque on that bolt. The right tool for the job, and there will be no problems. Usually around this point in every build, when you're not focusing 100% on what you're doing, you're trying to sound smart at the same time, you begin to lose bolts and parts and all these things. So you'll just have to watch. Okay. Bingo. Tensioner for the auxiliary belt is here. As you can see, it's I think ½ inch drive will fit here perfectly, and you can use that lever as well, like a breaker bar. That's what it's for. But I decided to use these big Nipexes because just grab on and you pull. We are now freehand looking at the timing belt, and once again this is the most useless timing belt video for a Volvo 850, since they don't look like this. Anyway, the tensioner, you can see this little rod coming up. I'm using that one. This roller here, this was actually specially selected. Correction, this is actually the 850 stock one, and this roller here to make this timing belt work is from some random Volvo model. If I can see, if you can see the part number, I'll give it to you. In order to get this belt removed, I of course will have to chain these timing belts so they don't move, and also I have two bolts. Okay, that's one way to film, make everybody sick. You can see two bolts there and below it. That's actually just a plastic shroud shielding the belt from getting dirt into it. So once I remove that from underneath, there will be no problems. Going down here, we can see the same thing. Apparently we can't. Not with these mad videoing skills. And there we can see the tensioner just, and my lamp died. But anyway, I will have to remove the tensioner after, so I can remove the belt. So stay tuned. Okay, so I have been rotating everything into the correct place, and I found that when I built this car, I was nice enough to myself to put a blob of paint on this bolt and here. So just that extra 5 seconds with a paint correcting pen that was silver, never going to be used by me, that I had lying around, I was able to save myself a ton of time. And up here we can see now that I should have my markings up and facing each other, and this is in no way, shape or form the case. So this means I have to rotate another full turn, and then they should be aligning then quite nicely and properly again, hopefully, or 2 turns. Let's see. So I didn't do myself any favors with that one, but what I have done is these markings here, and then these same markings on the belt. You can see 2 small blobs, more shiny, and they are now aligning perfectly. And then I'm looking at my markings here, so that these 2 are now friends again. This one is up, this one is up. Yeah, when you do your own thing and change the head to something that's not really supposed to be there, then you have to do these kinds of things. Normally there are 2 notches in this backplate on the original 851 that you should align these, I think. But look in the service manual or check on the interwebs how you should do it. This is how I know I should do it. Up, up against each other, and these are now aligned. So now I'm quite ready to take away the cam or the timing belt. Normally when you're locking your cams you have these through-hole cams, both intake and exhaust, but I have the VVT top on the intake and naturally aspirated top. So basically, in order to get these to lock, I took electrical wire, made them into a loop, and then I just opened one of the bolts on 3 holding the outer part of the cam, and I put it behind the bolt, and then I can tie a zip tie and zip tie them together. But you won't have to do that. You have these nice through holes here. You can just put zip ties and tie everything together and lock the cams. But for me, with my thing, I will have to add the other one down here, and they will then secure the cams for me while I am changing the belt. Okay, so I just pulled the belt off. Sorry I didn't take any video of that, but the cams are locked. The crank is in position. I just gently pulled on both sides, and it was very non-dramatical. I didn't want to film it because it's a bit nervous for everybody always. So the tensioner is here. The next thing to remove is to take away the hydraulic tensioner here, and it's with 2 bolts, and after that we'll tighten it again, put the lock pin in, put the new belt on, and then release, and that's the next most exciting thing that's going to happen in a long while. Here is the old belt. Looks quite okay, but it's starting to show some age somewhere, some roughness, so better safe than sorry. Okay, so the tensioner is out, 2 bolts. This one is the upper bolt, this one is the lower bolt. The brand ASIN is seen outwards, so this goes down and this goes of course to the top. Now what it says to do here is actually clamp it down, because this is a hydraulic tensioner. Then you have this hole that you will put a pin through this hole and lock it down. I have put a small bolt here to protect this surface. Other instructions are to take this very slowly and not rush it. The bolt serves another purpose also, that I will be able to push this enough in to get it straight. And this is a hydraulic thing with seals, so it says that you should take your time and not force the oil in this hydraulic tensioner to go through the seals too fast. So this will take between 5 and 20 minutes. Good to have a friend, call a friend, have some coffee, whatever. You tighten a bit, wait for a while, you tighten a bit, wait for a while, and so on. and I can move this a bit, so that's one thing to try to keep these two holes, this one and this one, aligned. So I won't leave you to the boring part. I will just do this by myself and think of something to do while I'm doing it, something else, and then I'll show you the finished product. Another thing, this here is placed in the middle of this clamping area, and this also on the back, it's placed in the middle, so I get the, if this was higher up, it would be non-straight to the vise, and oh, this is not a vise, but anyway, it would be not in the center. There would be uneven clamping force, and it would want to jump out and away from there. Okay, so I've had a little coffee, and now I'm going to pull it once again, and it's already starting to tighten up quite a bit, so I'm moving slow. I'm actually taking this in quarter turns, and now next time I will move it straight up, and then I will leave it there, and I will leave the oil in here to settle, go back and do its hydraulic magic, because hydraulics is basically wizardry. So, more coffee. So, I said I was going to do a quarter turn, but actually 1/8 turn went very smoothly, and then I encountered resistance, so I decided, okay, 1/8 turns instead. Let it take time. Let's try again. Quite well. So, 1/8 turn on this clamping lathe, and then you wait, the oil will settle, there will be room, and it will be easy once again. You will feel quite a big difference. Also, you can see the lever here is very shorter than almost like from my thumb to my fingertip, so it's a very short lever. If you have a long one, you won't feel the resistance the same way, so then you'll just grab it in the middle or somewhere so you can have a better feeling of what you're doing. Also, this spacer will go on top here when it's in the car. One function is to keep dirt from coming into the cam belts, and this tightening assembly. Another thing, some people drive without these protective shields, and here when we look down how much dirt there is, really a big layer on it. All this dirt would have been in all my cam rollers if I didn't have this protective cover. So it's okay, looks is one thing, looks nice, but it actually does protect your cam belt and all the rollers and bearings and things, so don't leave this out, even though you can. Basically it will hurt the life of your cam belt and timing. Okay, I had some issue with the clamping. This got stuck, so no matter how hard I pulled, I couldn't get this rivet through that will hold it in place. It's important that you will pull it out this way, where you have the text. This is down, this is up, so you'll figure it out when you install your. If this is the wrong way, you won't get it in place. Here is a bit of the indication of the clamping force required to make this. This was the bolt that I turned the other way around in the end, and this is how it looked like when I started out. So there's quite a bit of force in this little tensioner, this hydraulic tensioner, when you're clamping it. So that's why 1/8 turns, 1/4 turns, you'll pretty much get the feel for it, that it'll be a bit of resistance, and as soon as it gets hard, you stop, you wait, and you reclamp. So now I'm going to go install this back in my car.